Hello, everyone. I'm Catherine Mortensen with Our America. And if you're not familiar with our organization, we are a new but fast growing organization that we are working to build this broad, diverse coalition of Americans who support the timeless American values that empower everyone to thrive. And those things include equal opportunity, mutual respect, and freedom of expression. Today, joining us is Congressman Juan Ciscomani of Arizona. And he actually has made history in his state. He is the first member of Congress elected to serve in Arizona who was born in Mexico. So clearly, Representative, you embody the American dream. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. What were some of the challenges that you had to overcome and to get to where you are today? And then I want to just, wrap it all up by giving a message of hope to other minorities about how they can achieve the American dream.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure. It's been a great journey for us so far. My wife comes from an immigrant family as well. She was born in California. I was born in Mexico, as you mentioned. We have 6 beautiful kids that we're raising right here in the community that I now represent. And you're right. It's been quite the journey. I'm in Tucson, Arizona, where the Hispanic population is growing and it continues to grow, approaching over probably closer to 40% now, 38%. So it's a population that has a broad and strong Hispanic presence. My district is on the over the east side, and this is where I grew up. This is the community that welcomed my family and me when we moved to the U.S. and we went through our journey of immigration. And now, as you mentioned, we're in many ways living the American dream. My dad drove a bus for most of his work life here in the U.S. and he retired recently. And he always says, "Where else in the world could we have our story? We come to the country, we immerse in the culture, we learn English, we go through the long process of becoming U.S. citizens." My dad says, "I drive a bus, and now my son has the opportunity to serve in the United States Congress. Where else in the world could we have that opportunity?" And there have been some challenges along the way, as you mentioned, but it's all about perspective. Do we take those challenges and sink ourselves in them and say, "Oh, poor me," or do we actually do something with that, use it as fuel and as a point as well to launch to reach your goals? And I've been very blessed to have a parents that have supported me all the way through. Now, of course, a wife and kids that do the same, and I want to be supportive to them as well. So it's a team effort for sure.
Well, congratulations to you for your success. What do you see are some of the challenges, particularly over the past 4 years under the Biden Harris administration? What are the challenges that Latinos are facing and even Black Americans that are making it difficult for them to achieve the American dream?
Yeah, the American dream looks very unique and different to each person. Of course, it's whatever you want to make of it. If you ask my dad, "Are you living the American dream?" He'll say, "Yeah." And someone asked me, Really, as driving a bus, that's the American dream?" Well, for him, it was about giving us an opportunity to come here and build our own future and our own life. When you look at all the families, whether they're minority families or not, what are the challenges that they're facing is in terms of achieving that American dream is do they have those opportunities? Is the cost of living prohibitive to go where they want to go? When you look at families, why they move, why they come here to America, mine included, better job for the parents that are working, better school for the kids, and safe streets, right? Where you can grow up and feel safe. So those 3 things have been under real threat under this administration, specifically the economic one. When things are so expensive, harder to start a business than it was before. And on the safety side, we know what's happening obviously at the border, but also in our local communities. So all these things impact people's abilities to be able to go and strive for what they want their American dream to be. And really things have gone quite south from with this administration.
Well, I also want to ask you about recent polls. There's been several. NBC did one, New York Times, Siena poll, showing that Black and Hispanic Americans are really moving away from their historic political allegiances, and they're moving towards the conservative candidates.
Yeah.
And even Vice President Harris over this past week has been doing more outreach to Black men in particular, because the polls are showing they are moving away from her party. What do you think is going on here?
Well, I think, and in my case specifically, Hispanics, we want results, right? We want things that work. The rhetoric gets old, and people telling you they're going to do something for you, and they're going to do something for you, and they just don't do anything that actually helps and benefits. And people catch on to that eventually, and I think that's what's happening right now. People have caught on, specifically in the Hispanic community, and very specifically as well in the Spanish-speaking Hispanic community, of saying, well, when was my life better? We come here for that American dream so we can have economic freedom and pursue our dreams. And that just seems kind of out of reach right now. And it's getting worse and worse. One side tries to tell us, oh, everything's going to be okay. And we will, just those nice feelings, frankly, don't pay the bills. And we have to make sure that we put forward policies that work. And I think the Hispanic community in this case is moving away from just a traditional vote Democrat down the line without really thinking about it. But it doesn't mean that they're necessarily flocking to be Republicans either. The thing is that the Hispanic community wants results. And I think that the GOP right now has a great opportunity to show that it can deliver results. And, I've registered as a Republican since I became a citizen, and I'm proud of that and growing up in this community. But neither side offers perfection, of course, but we have to make sure to provide results. And people leaving one side doesn't mean that they flock to the other. They just want results. The Hispanic community wants results, and they're seeing that right now with the way that President Trump has talked about the issues and then demonstrated for 4 years. People are able to compare, and it's a pretty easy choice.
Well, Congressman, I came to Washington, D.C., and my first job was working for a freshman member of Congress from Colorado. And so what I say next, I have a little bit of context for. You, as a freshman, got a legislation passed by the House, which I know from my work on the Hill is very unusual. Freshman members of Congress are typically, not, their bills don't sort of get priority, but you had that unusual achievement of getting a bill passed by the House, H.R. 5585, and it would crack down on individuals who engage in these high-speed chases with Customs and Border Patrol or other law enforcement. First of all, congratulations. And how did you get this sort of bipartisan support to move so quickly in your first term?
Well, thank you. I hit the ground running. Like I just said, our Hispanic population here, and really overall the people here in my district, they want results. My district is 1/3 Republican, 1/3 Democrat, and 1/3 independent. So no side really dominates the whole conversation. We need to be able to work with everyone and vote our values. So when I came in, I said, I want to show results. I don't want to play the politics, be a social media king and be able to, come up with the best one-liners. I want to go roll up my sleeves and go to work. So one of the things that I kept hearing about, of course, is the border. And when you see high-speed chases, that's something that impacts the entire community, whether you're on the right or the left. People are in danger with those high-speed chases, and there weren't enough penalties for the drivers that are causing that are majority U.S. citizens. So we went to work. We worked on bipartisan basis. The bill passed the House. It went through all the committee process. Of course, as you know, it's lengthy, but we kept working the relationships that we have there. And we ended up passing it with every Republican voting for it, and also 56 Democrats voting for the bill as well. So I was very proud of the bipartisan nature of the bill. It made sense, common sense bill that tackled people that are endangering our community. And again, it made sense for the broad majority here that I mentioned. So it went over to the Senate. Unfortunately, it sat in Chuck Schumer's desk, and he hasn't done anything with it. But I'm hoping that we can continue to push this legislation and that he can see and the Senate can see that this is something that makes sense.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations. And just to wrap things up, as a Hispanic myself, I know that our culture places enormous emphasis on families, hard work, and education. And those are some of the foundational values of the conservative movement as well. How can we in the conservative world do a better job of reaching out to Hispanics and bringing them in where we know we have common ground and common values?
Yeah, I think exactly what you just said. When we look at the values that we have of hard work, of appreciating and respecting law enforcement and safety, entrepreneurship here in Southern Arizona. A lot of those small businesses are started by the Hispanic community, many of them being immigrants as well. So we have all that just aligns. It's all about the messaging. I also think that it helps to have people that look like us that go out there and lead on this conversation. And of course, me being the first Hispanic Republican to be elected in the state of Arizona for Congress, and also, as you mentioned, the first immigrant from Mexico in Arizona's history overall. I'm in a unique position that I want to use that platform to go out and say, listen, there is diversity among our group, and these are the values that I stand for. Like I said, no side is perfect, and that was ranked the most bipartisan member in Arizona as a freshman. Why? Because I'm willing to work with both sides to find solutions. That's what the majority of the public wants. That's certainly what the Hispanic community wants as well. So if we talk issues, if we talk values, if we talk the things that we have in common more than the things that separate us, then I think we're going to be in a much better place. So we have to be positive, right? We have to be happy warriors. We have to get out there and talk about the American dream and all those opportunities that so many people have been able to take advantage of in this country, whether they're immigrants or not. Obviously, people that have been here for generations have an equal opportunity to do so. And it's great to be in this nation where all is possible if you put your mind and hard work to it. When we talk about that, that is music to the ears of the Hispanic community for sure.
Well, I really appreciate everything you've shared with us today. Is there anything you would like to add before we wrap up?
No, I just want to thank you for the opportunity. I want to let people know at home that politics are very divisive right now. And I think the whole country is divided in a lot of ways. But I am very optimistic for the future. I think that we're going to get past this. I think we're going to be able to focus on what really matters to people, focus on those things. People at home do it. They tighten the belt. They go to work. They take care of their families. Government should be doing the same thing. And that's my priority while I'm there.
Thank you. Representative Juan Ciscomani of Arizona. And
Muchas gracias.
thank you. Muchas gracias a tú también.